now being used to at least address some of the problems we have with roads and highways and bridges and this sort of thing, but it's not nearly enough. The Republicans in McCain's stance against earmarks, that's really, earmarks are really a surrogate for his opposition and the Republicans' opposition to infrastructure spending. The reason they're opposed to infrastructure spending is that when the government spends money on infrastructure, you are using public funds to do what is needed to be done to create jobs and to shore up the physical economy. They want everything to go through the banking system. They want people to have to borrow money from the banks in order to do things like this. They want to use private credit to privatize the economy, where private companies and corporations come in and buy water systems and even buy roads like they did with the Indiana Turnpike. This is what the Republicans want. They want to drive the economy totally into the hands of the financiers, the banking system, the big international financial conglomerates, the equity funds. They couldn't care less about public support of the economy, about public financing of the economy. And if the Republicans are elected, it will be the worst possible thing that could happen for the economy of this country.
Are you saying it's actually going to make a difference if Obama's elected? Will he put in any of these backbone infrastructures?
In my opinion, we're going to see a little bit of tinkering around the edges the way Clinton did. A little bit more of certain aspects of the welfare state which are oriented primarily to the lower economic rungs, to the poverty level people. You know, we might see some more food stamps out there. We might see the earned income tax credit being expanded a little bit. I can't see right now the Democrats doing anything significant to increase the job base in this country that does not go through private enterprise, but we won't see anything really major because I don't think the Democrats have the power to go up against the financial elite that runs the system. At least that's the way it looks right now. I think that the only way to do it is to attack the Federal Reserve System at its root, the way Ron Paul has advocated, the way this group that met in Washington today was talking about, the one that included Nader, included Cynthia McKinney. We need a complete overhaul of the financial system. In addition to that, what I think we need to put into place immediately is a national dividend that would involve direct payment to individuals of the kind of resource revenues that they do through the Alaska Permanent Fund, where this year they've raised the Alaska Permanent Fund to a $3,200 stipend to each resident of Alaska that includes a fuel subsidy and includes a resource revenue royalty. We need to do something like this nationwide to attack the oncoming depression at its very roots. And it's very difficult. I can't see the Democrats doing this without just throwing out everything that they have been doing the last 20 years under the centrist regime that Clinton and the Democratic Leadership Council put in place, which is really what you might call Republican light. I think we need a complete revolution in public finance in this country.
But instead it'll just be continue to leverage out to the global banking system, and the larger beast will continue to die.
I think so. I think that what the Democrats are really doing is to support the so-called soft landing, where we just kind of continue to slide into a prolonged depression.
And when do you think Americans will actually start to feel it? When will it be obvious on the streets?
Well, people I know.
Let's hope it's not.
Well, I guess, I don't know, maybe Austin is different, but, where I am in Virginia and Maryland, it's an area that gets a lot of federal money to support it because there's so much government around here and so much military. But, my sister and my mother go to the grocery store and they're flabbergasted at what they have to pay or at what she has to pay for medication.
Well, I guess at a base level, I just see the dull optimism in people's eyes, hoping that a new president will actually run things and change things. Or I don't know exactly. I just have the feeling that at a gut level, we have no idea what's going on the ground floor.
Well, That's true, and that's why one of the things that I'm constantly saying to people is that you have to get informed about the issues, and you have to understand that the root of the problem is the debt-based, usury-oriented monetary system that we have had in this country from the very beginning. And it's really the fact that the only way money is introduced into circulation in our economy is through a bank loan at interest that is, along with the export of our manufacturing jobs to third world countries, it's bankrupted the United States. And until the American people understand that and get educated on that and demand that we have political leaders who can take back the control of the financial system or the monetary system from the international financiers who have run this thing in this country for decades, nothing will change. It will only get worse. And it could get so bad that we have a complete loss of our democratic system or democratic values. I mean, it's getting to be that critical.
Yeah, shifting gears, but probably a parallel with what's going on. I've got a Register article here. NASA chief blasts U.S. space policy in leaked email. Mike Griffin says the White House is waging jihad against the space shuttle and offers a gloomy view of the future. Basically, it's everything to do with our Russian relations, and basically we're giving up our spot on the International Space Station system. What do you know about this, and what does this mean economically and in terms of our future in space?
Yes, we have given up on the space station. Once the shuttle is retired in 2010, we will not have a vehicle any longer that can take astronauts to the space station. Now, the space station was supposed to be a vehicle of international cooperation where the U.S., Russia, the European Space Agency, Japan, and other nations would work together for the economic development of space resources. The United States has given that up. We've walked away from the space station, and we've put all of the money that we have into this program of establishing a base on the moon. But the problem is that all the other countries that are now in space are going to do the same thing. We thought we were going to control the avenue from the Earth to the moon through this latest venture, which is really the Apollo program rolled out again. But now Russia, China, the European Space Agency, Japan, and even India, if you can imagine that, are all announcing the fact that they're going to set up moon bases in the next 20, 30 years that will compete with the United States. We're even losing our ability to have leadership in space.
And how does that relate to our game of balderdash with Russia on the ground? Basically stepping up tensions at every level, defense missile shield, the Georgia conflict, the Central Caucasus region, and now in space we're giving it all up too. What's going on with Russia?
Well, it depends on who controls the government coming out of the next election. Right now, we're playing a game of chicken with Russia that could lead to a World War III. The United States instigated the attack on South Ossetia that led to the recent conflict over Georgia, and we did that in order to escalate tensions with Russia because it's all a way to run away from our own economic collapse. It's called a flight forward syndrome. Bush has this great scheme of world conquest that he's been carrying out, and Russia's the next target for this because Russia is the one nation in the world that has the ability to separate itself completely from the financial system of the Western financial powers. And they're doing this. They're taking a stand, and they may be taking China, Central Asia, and possibly even India with them into a coalition that will draw the line in the sand where the Western financiers who control the Western nations, including the United States, cannot pass. Now, at that point, they either have a choice of trying to go to war against Russia, which a lot of them want to do, or of recognizing that our system is a parasitic system that's totally bankrupt and that has to be changed. The system can be changed. That's something that monetary reformers, including myself, have tried to get across to people. The system can be changed. The American system, as it was founded as a republic, under the Declaration of Independence in our Constitution, give